Count 1, aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder.
That was Kouri Richins being read her guilty verdict yesterday over the killing of her husband, Eric, by lacing his cocktail with a lethal dose of fentanyl. Joining us now is our true crime expert, Anne Emerson of Criminally Obsessed, to discuss this case and the verdict. Anne, thank you so much for being here this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so this one was a quick one. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Talk about how often that happens.
It was kind of crazy, actually, because the first thing that ran in my mind was that, I sat it through a 6-week, longest trial in South Carolina's history. Alec Murdaugh, guess how long it took them to come back? About 3 hours. I mean, it's usually when there's this overwhelming sense of evidence in the case. The jurors were obviously working well together as a pool, as a team, and they go into these things, and they probably went into that room and were like, yeah, we all kind of feel the same way. Okay, well, let's start looking at everything and making sure that crossing our T's, dotting our I's. But if they're on the same page, they're on the same page. So this was a jury that was working well together, and I have to say the prosecution did an extraordinary job of showing them the evidence in this case.
One legal expert, a local one that we talked to here in the Salt Lake City area, said he was convinced it was just the overwhelming flood of evidence that the prosecution kind of threw at this case. Do you agree?
100%. Like when I was looking at the evidence on this case, there was you just couldn't walk away from some of these things. There were, there's coincidences, and then there's just like, this is nuts. Like, when you're looking at what happened on Valentine's Day with, the way Eric was feeling and what he was texting to his friend, and this sort of information about feeling like he was being poisoned, and then all of a sudden 5 times the lethal dose. I mean, how is that an overdose? That is so hard to show as an overdose kind of situation with fentanyl. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, right? And that's where we're trying to get to. It's beyond a reasonable doubt that there was something nefarious going on.
Obviously, the murder charge, the murder conviction, that's the biggest here, but she was convicted on all counts: aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, also guilty of forgery, and 2 counts of insurance fraud related to Eric Richins' life insurance coverage.
It all fits the motive, right? It literally, this jury believed what the prosecution was putting down, saying, look, we're giving you the why. We're showing you the debt. We're showing you why she needed more money, and she was having this affair, an illicit affair going on. A lot of reasons why this motive worked for prosecution was that they were able to bring it all together and lay it out for the jury in a way that didn't sound crazy, because you're dealing with an intimate partner poisoning, and it is so hard to believe that someone would do that. Well, I think the prosecution got there. The defense did not put up any witnesses, which, obviously the jury took as a sign as well, because that was probably hard for them to see that they weren't even going to put anybody else up there.
Yeah, so hindsight's 20/20, obviously. Knowing what we know now, do you think it was a mistake for the defense team not to put any witnesses up, perhaps not for Kouri to go up to the witness stand?
Well, I think what I hear over and over again is criminal defense attorneys hate it when their client wants to go and take the stand. Again, I'll just use Alec Murdaugh because I was in there. For him to take the stand was a mess for the defense. And I think it would have been a mess if Kouri had gotten up there, because if you bring your own witnesses up there, you're opening them up for cross. And then you're opening the door, right? So now that's what they kind of call it in legal circles. They're opening the door to a whole nother level of issues. And we don't really know if there were other issues that they just did not want to be brought up in this particular trial. So that could have been part of the reason. But yes, of course, because she's facing such a long time in prison, if in the sentencing part of this, it's got to hurt a little bit that they didn't at least put up some witnesses. But any good criminal defense attorney will will stop Kouri from taking the stand at least.
All right, so she will be sentenced in 2 months approximately. Obviously, we know an initial conviction. It's never the final word here. Do we expect an appeal in this case, and if there are any
yeah,
grounds?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I would be surprised if that wasn't already being put together, and they will absolutely do that. They're going to look at her as this mom who has these boys that need a mom, that, you know, her family's going to come forward, and absolutely there's going to be a Hail Mary. There's going to be everything that they possibly can do. And, you know, I remember hearing earlier things in this case about how the defense was so riled up that they had twisted the facts, basically, and that there were other issues in this investigation and how sloppy it was. I mean, they're going to pull all of that out in appeal. I would be, yeah, 100%.
All right, Anne, thank you so much for joining us. Give us a reminder of where people can find you.
Thank you. Yes, we've got a daily video podcast. I hope you guys are following it. We certainly are in the middle of it with the Kouri Richins as well. We've been covering live trial coverage with KUTV as well, but we are on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. Please come and check us out at Criminally Obsessed. I will be covering the stories that you are all obsessed with. So I'll see you there.
Okay, Anne Emerson, thank you so much. I'm going to go into that just a little bit more right here. Anne is the investigative reporter for Criminally Obsessed. It's our new true crime team. If you are one of those people who listens to true crime all the time, you want to check out her daily show. Like she said, it is on YouTube. She's got some of the most fascinating deep dives on the stories everyone is talking about. You can see the QR code right there on your screen. Just go ahead and scan that. You will find Anne's interviews. You can also listen to Criminally Obsessed, the podcast, on Apple and Spotify.